You are welcome to the Messiah channel, a prophetic end time ministry dedicated to end times. And our message today is very critical. We are looking at a question: why do black people still are in the church? Why are black men and women still in the church? Why do black people call themselves Christians? Why do you go to church? Why do you follow Jesus Christ? Why are you a pastor? You are a black man and you are a Christian. Why do you go to church? You are in the wrong institution. I'm doing this video in response to a video that I watched. And the title of the video is "Why Are Black People Still in Church?" And the video was put up by a channel by name Redirecting Proverbs 31, and that's the channel's name. And the presenter is a black lady from the United States. Her name is Deborah, and they call her Sister Deborah. And I watched the video, and I'm doing a response to the video because it's very, very important. And normally I would have liked to put a link to that video in the description box, but this time I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because when you repeat a lie, it sticks into people's memory, and when you hear a sermon and the sermon is heretical, you should not repeat it and you should not circulate it. If you hear a gospel and the gospel is demonic and the gospel is apostate gospel, you should not repeat it. And so for that reason, I'm not going to put a link to that video for you to read. But the channel's name is Redirecting Proverbs 31, and the lady is called Deborah. And she's asking the question, why are black people still in the church? Why are they still Christians? And she's particularly interested in black people. And she made it very clear in the presentation that Deborah and that lady, a black American lady, she's no longer a Christian. It means that she was once a Christian. She went to church in the past, but she's no longer in the church. And so it tells you something about her faith. It means that she has deviated from the Christian faith. And the Bible is very clear. In the last days, as the book of Timothy talks about, people will deviate from the faith, and then they will succumb to doctrines of demons, and there will be so many heretical teachings that they will be believing in. They will no longer be believing in the faith. And so it's no wonder for Deborah, who was a Christian, to make a video, of course, saying that she's no longer a Christian, and she's questioning why, as a black man, a black woman, you should be in the church, why you should be a Christian, why you should follow the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Messiah. And don't be surprised, because Carlton Pearson, she was a black preacher. She did a lot. And there came a time when he said he no longer believes in hell. He no longer believes in God. God does not exist. And he died. I'm not sure whether he repented, but that is another story for another day. Deborah, the lady I'm talking about, she said that Christianity is of the devil. Christianity, in quotes, is of the devil, unquote. And so she equates Christianity with the devil. And she's saying that there is a demon attached to Christianity. It's a very deep comment, a heretical comment. Deborah is saying that Christianity is of the devil and there's a demon spirit attached to Christianity. And I'm not sure whether she also knows that there is demonic spirit attached to some or other religions. I'm not sure why she is saying Christianity is of the devil and there's a demon attached to Christianity. She knows why she's saying that. Probably she got a revelation. She got a counter revelation because the book of Revelation is clear that the Messiah, Yeshua, gave revelation to be given to the 7 churches. So if Deborah is saying that there is a demon attached to Christianity, then I believe that Deborah does not believe in the Bible. Obviously, she is a devout non-believer in the message of the gospel, a devout non-believer in the book of Revelation. Or probably she's very ignorant about church history. And so if you say that the church is of the devil and there's a demon attached to it, that's a blasphemy. Because when the Messiah writes a letter to be given to the churches, and Deborah is saying that Christianity is of the devil and there's a demon attached to Christianity, then definitely you will agree with me that Deborah is heretical and blasphemous in her teachings. She asked a question. Your pastor didn't tell you. Your pastor didn't teach you. And wait a minute. There are a lot of people who they call themselves Hebrew Israelites. And I'm saying this not to show any disrespect, but some of these people, they are Hebrew Israelites, and they say that Christianity is of the devil or Christianity is fake. And so they mock pastors. And so they say your pastor didn't teach you this, your pastor doesn't know this. There's an element of pride in that assertion, indicating that those who are Hebrew Israelites, they know everything. And so if you are going to church, your pastor is ignorant, your pastor doesn't know anything. And so you have to come to those who think they know. And so Deborah, and that lady, and I believe she thinks she knows a lot. And so she made a statement, and the pastors will not teach you. To some extent, I agree with her in the sense that the pastors, as the shepherds of the flock, are not feeding the flock. And I'm sure probably when she was in the church, she was disappointed and she left the church. But for her to make a conclusive statement that the church is of the devil, devil, and there's a demon attached to the to Christianity, and I believe that she has fallen to demonic doctrines, and she actually confirms the prophecy in Timothy that in the last days many people will deviate from the faith and they will succumb to doctrines of demons. Deborah asked a question: where did Christianity come from? Christianity was handed to us by the enslaver. So we are looking at the two questions. Where did Christianity come from? Definitely, she's of the view that Christianity was given to black people by the enslaver. That is that is false. It's a false teaching. Christianity didn't come from the enslaver. If you look at church history, the church was founded by the Messiah, and Apostle Peter was made the foundation stone of the church. Paul preached for the church, and definitely Deborah should read the New Testament, should read the Acts of the Apostles, and also should read the book of Revelation. Deborah should also be aware that Christianity started in Africa 300 years before it went to Rome. And so she should know about the African origins of Christianity. And so if she asks the question, where did Christianity come from? And my answer is that Christianity is African in origin, and it was later copied, it spread to the Gentile kingdoms, including Rome. Did the enslavers give Christianity to black people? No, because before the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, Christianity was already in Africa, in Ethiopia. And Deborah should know that people like St. Augustine, they were Africans. They were of the early Christians, those who actually nurtured Christianity. St. Augustine was an African. The Christianity that was given to the African was a whitewash Christianity. Definitely, if Deborah says that, I'll agree with her, but I don't agree with her that Christianity came from the enslaver. And that's a distortion of history because Christianity was in Africa, was in Ethiopia. The Enoch from Ethiopia, from the office of the queen in Ethiopia. He was baptized by Philip, and the Bible is very clear. The Acts of Apostles is very clear. Deborah made a comment or a question: why should you worship a God who is the God of KKK, Ku Klux Klan? If you are a non-American, a Ku Klux Klan is a group, it's a hate group, it's a white supremacist group, and they call themselves quote unquote Christians. And in those days, they recruited their members from the parking lot of so-called Christian churches. That is true. And so Deborah is asking the question: why should a black man worship the same God that the KKK people worship? The question is blasphemous. The question is heretical. It's heretical because the God who created the universe is the God who created the devil and demons. And if you look at the book of Isaiah, and if you look at the book of prophecy, you know that God is the creator of the universe, and it's specifically stated that he created the demons, and he is Lord over them. And so the other day, when the Messiah, Yeshua, was walking, he was confronted by the demons. And then the demons said, "We know who you are. You are Christ." And so the demons are aware that the Messiah is Christ. And they bow to him, they worship him. And Satan himself knows God is the creator of the universe. The Bible is very clear. Satan believes in God. And so it's unfortunate that there are people in the world who call themselves atheists, who don't believe in God, when Lucifer himself believes in God, believes in the Messiah, and is aware that the Messiah is going to come physically in the future. And is also aware that the church is authentic, because Lucifer knows that. That's why Lucifer is attacking the church. And unfortunately, a lot of people have allowed themselves, including Deborah, for the devil to use them against the church. And Deborah made a comment, wake up, wake up, wake up, black Americans, or wake up, black people, because they are lies taught by Christianity. And to some extent, that is true, because Deborah, I'm sure, living in the United States, knows of some churches, and a lot of them. And unfortunately, some of them are black churches, and they believe in transgenderism, and they they engage in all types of apostasy. And these are churches over the world. It's not only in America, it's also in Africa. And they say that Jesus will patch it for you. The other day, T.D. Jakes was saying that the grace of God is sufficient to cleanse all his sins, and he doesn't have to repent. And so Deborah is aware of the apostasy in the church, and is aware of how even the black church has deviated and has become an LGBT condoning, affirming church. And she is aware how many people have deviated from the faith, and they have become a part of the Laodicean church. Definitely, Deborah is also aware that in the black church in America, they are aligned to the doctrine. There is a political ideology, whether you are a Republican or you are a Democrat. And so some of these churches worship political parties, whether a Republican Party or Democratic Party, and they hold allegiance to the Constitution of the United States. Of course, there is a kingdom greater than America, and there is a God who is greater than the President of the United States. That's the one that you should hold allegiance to. Deborah also talks about the name of God. And she said that, yeah, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Zechariah, yeah. And these prophets, they had the names of Yah behind their names. And so they are the true prophets. Definitely it's true. Jeremiah was a prophet of God. Isaiah was a prophet of God. And Deborah should know that the prophet Isaiah prophesied about the Messiah, Yeshua Jesus Christ, the one who founded the church. The church that Deborah is saying is a church of demons. The church where Deborah is saying that there's a demon attached to the church. That church was founded by the Messiah, whose birth was prophesied by the prophet Isaiah 700 years before it came to pass. And that church is the church that is the subject of the book of Revelation. Because the book of Revelation is a letter, is a message that the Messiah delivered to Apostle John to be given to the churches. It's important to know that the church has deviated. There's corruption in the church. There is sin going on in the church. But that doesn't mean that Christianity is of the devil. That doesn't mean that there's a demon attached to Christianity. It's true that the modern church is a racist church. And they preach about salvation belonging to both Jews and Gentiles. And they also teach that there's no distinction between Jews and Gentiles. There's no distinction between men and women. That's what they preach. But in practice, if the church members have a job, they discriminate between Jews and Gentiles. They discriminate between men and women. Of course, the Christians, those who are managers, those who are CEOs, those who are pastors, they discriminate on the basis of color. And that will happen. Discrimination will happen. Black against white and white against black. That doesn't mean that Christianity is a religion of demons. You should not go to that extent. You should not go to that extent at all. Of course, Christianity developed racist doctrines. One of them is the theology of the curse of Ham, that black people are cursed. And this is what they preach. Of course, we are aware that they also they printed a different Bible for slaves. At the time when slave trade was quote unquote abolished, a different Bible was printed for black people. Black people were excluded from salvation. That doesn't mean that Christianity is of the devil. Christianity has been hijacked by demons. It's infiltrated by demons. It's infiltrated by racists. It was misused or abused by enslavers. The truth was hidden. But now the light is coming and judgment will come. That doesn't mean that you have to move out of Christianity. God has not come. God has not avenged the black man. Judgment has not come yet. That doesn't mean that you as a black man should believe there's no God. And so you will stop going to church. You will stop believing in God, because the prophesied judgment on the enemies of the children of God has not come. And so there's no God. The judgment is not coming. The black man and the black woman, why are you still in church? You are still in church because the Messiah that you believe in, he's the one who created the church and commissioned Apostle John to write to the church. You are in church as a black man because the Messiah is coming for his church that is without spot, without wrinkle. You need to prepare yourself for that. The Messiah is coming. The book of Revelation is very, very important. And the New Testament is very, very important. The writings of Paul is important. Paul said the Holy Spirit told him expressly in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 1 that in the last days many people, including those who were formerly Christians, they will deviate from the gospel and they will heed to the doctrines of men and women, the doctrines of demons. Why are you still in church? You are a black man. Why don't you go back and worship the gods, small gods that you used to worship before the colonial people came in? Why don't you go back to African spirituality? You need to be very careful because there are people who look like you, they are black like you, they awaken you because they tell you your history and your identity. But the same people, if you don't take care, they will take you to hell. And so, in the case of Deborah, she's awakening the Negro, she's awakening black people, she's exposing lies in Christianity. But at the same time, you need to be very careful for any heresy that comes from her mouth, particularly when she says that Christianity is of the devil and there's a demon attached to Christianity. And when she questions why you go to church, why you worship the same God who is worshipped by KKK, I believe that statement is heretical, is extreme. And the warning I'll give to you is that if people are going to hell, don't go to hell with them. If somebody is a Ku Klux Klan and he goes to church every Sunday and he reads the Bible, but after church you go and kill a black woman and you go and put a cross on somebody's lawn and he wear a hood and is prepared to go to hell, don't go to hell with that person. In the same way, if there's a black woman, a black man, and the person is telling you your history, the person is telling you about the history of colonization and slavery and slave trade, don't follow that person to hell when the person tells you something that is heretical, something that is demonic, particularly when somebody questions your faith in the Messiah and asks you a question. Why are you still a Christian even though you are a black man? That is an insult to the black people. That black people, they have no discernment. They cannot discern the lies in the church. Of course, there are lies in the church. Of course, churches, some of them are apostates. And black people are aware that Potter's House, a church initiated by a black man, T.D. Jakes, It's an apostate church. It's a gay affirming church. That doesn't mean that the church in England, the church in Africa, the church in Jamaica, the church all over the world is of the devil, and there's a demon attached to the church. And so watch the apostates and the heretics who are preaching, who are questioning your faith in Christianity. And they have the audacity to ask you a question. Why are you still a Christian? Even though you're a black man, you're a black woman. Deborah claims she was a Christian. She's no longer a Christian. Let her be who she wants to be. She should not haul you into condemnation by using psychology on you. Why do you worship the same God that the KKK people worship? Why do you worship the God who created the universe? If that God allows KKK men and women to live, the other day, you know what happened? The prophet Jonah. The Lord sent the prophet Jonah to go and warn Nineveh. And Jonah didn't like it because Jonah wanted the people of Nineveh to die. The other day, the Lord sent Apostle Peter to Cornelius. And Peter didn't like it because Cornelius was a Gentile. He was from Rome, probably a white man. Peter didn't like it. But the Lord told him that the gospel is for both the Hebrews and the Gentiles. And so don't let anybody deceive you and question your Christianity by using racist tropes and ask you a question, why are you a Christian even though you're a black man or a black woman? Revelation 7 verse 9 is very, very important. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds, and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Elohim, who created the universe, is a God of different tongues and languages and nations. So you are a black man, you can claim to be a child, the chosen of God. You can claim to be Hebrew all day long. But you must understand that the God who created the universe is a God of the universe, is a God of both Hebrews and Gentiles. And his salvation is very inclusive. And Revelation 7 verse 9 talks about saving people from all nations, from all tribes or kindreds. It's not talking about saving only Hebrews. It's talking about all nations. And the church of the Messiah is preparing for the day when men and women in the church of different races and colors, different tongues, different skin colors, they will stand before Elohim and they will be holding palm branches and they will be clothed with holiness. And that's what we are looking for. And so don't let anybody deceive you with heretical teachings, including a lady in Kenya by name Mumbi Saraki, who says that there's no God, the Messiah is not coming, God is a woman, and it's an African God, so you should go and worship voodoo gods, worship African spirituality. And that's the same thing that Deborah is saying, questioning your Christianity and asking the question, why do you worship the same God that the KKK man woman worship. You are bringing too much into Christianity. You are being heretical, you are being blasphemous, and you are an apostate. And so that is my response to you. Redirecting Proverbs 31, you go by Deborah. You need to repent from this heresy and apostasy. Thank you for watching this video.